everybody. Welcome to Money Management. Today, I'm very happy to host Tom Hernandez, my very good friend and colleague of many years. Tom, with his giving personality, was willing to help me out, a young 23-year-old new licensee.
So funny because I tell agents that story a lot about you. I said there was this young guy and he could hear me making these calls and doing these dials, and every week he seemed to find a desk closer and closer to me until he was directly behind me.
Lucky for me, you were there, willing to help, and our friendship grew and we started working on some deals together. I wanted to dive right into it and
Sure.
find out, how did you first discover you wanted to get into the world of finance? I think before real estate, you were doing some mortgages, right?
Yeah, out of high school, I got a job working as an escrow at an escrow company, and gravitated to get my real estate license and moved into the mortgage business. And it wasn't until the 94 earthquake happened when I lost my pipeline of loans, walls fell down, interest rates went up, that I said, I've got all this information and experience in escrow and finance. The next logical step for me to grow was into real estate. And I've been here and never looked back. I knew that the lifestyle that I wanted to live could not be had on a 9-to-5 job salary, and that if I wanted to have the things that I dreamt of, was going to be done to be paid based upon how hard and smart I worked, and not necessarily by the amount of hours I worked or a steady paycheck. There was nobody out there that could pay me what I was truly worth.
Yeah, it's always about working smart, having systems in place and making sure that we're hitting our numbers and getting to our end goal. I wanted to find out if you were to give, an advice to your younger self or anyone that's involved in this field, not necessarily just real estate or mortgages, just entrepreneurship. What would be kind of the basic guidance you would give them starting out?
If I had to tell my younger self what to do or to look back and give advice, it would have been to surround myself around a lot more influencing people than what I did, and to stop thinking that I had to create the wheel. There were a lot of people in my life that did help me, but there were a lot of times that I think I was stubborn and said, no, I got to do it this way, or I'm going to learn it the hard way. And had I just would have brought those people into my life and embraced them, I think, it may have come a little faster, a little smoother, a little easier.
As you were saying that, I was remembering another colleague of ours that was working in the same office, David Friedman.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me, you're going to make your money buying real estate, not selling real estate.
Absolutely. I think you might have even been there early on when we went to a real estate seminar, and the guy said, selling real estate is like working for tips. They give you the tip and that little commission, but they make all the big wealth owning the real estate. And that was something, that's definitely stood in my brain early on as well, that I might be working for tips right now, but I'm going to take that tip money and put it in the jar and buy something with it.
We are kind of thinking that we're towards the end of COVID, but it seems like we're in the middle of it. And, if you could describe this era of time in the business world.
I mean, for me, I've always looked at everything as opportunity. One of the things I tell the agents in my office now is, I've seen war, I've seen 9/11, I've seen stock market crash, I've seen a pandemic now, and it's really just looking for the opportunity. There was opportunities in every one of those markets. Ben, when the REO market hit, you became an REO agent and dominated there. So I think it's about looking at the opportunities that are out there. Our market here in LA is up 7%, when we were only predicting a 3% growth at the beginning of the year. So to see it actually double the amount of growth that we thought, and then when the pandemic hit, we actually thought it was going to shrink, and it actually doubled from what we thought. That means there's a lot of opportunities out there, and you've just got to put on that mindset of looking for those opportunities to go and grow. And sometimes, like, it might even be out of state. I'm out looking in Colorado right now for opportunities because there's so much growth going on out there as well. So, my one word for this market right now, it's opportunity.
In the next 3 to 5 years, as we're obviously potentially could be hitting a correction, in the real estate market, and as we're looking for opportunity given COVID and what's transpired in the financial markets over the last 12 months, or maybe even just in the last 9 months. Other than opportunity, how do you see your personal business and the clients that you're helping out? How do you see that potentially changing, getting better, more efficient? What do you think?
I think it's a case by case basis with each client. Everybody's in a different stage of their life and what I like to call a season in their life. I've had some clients that they're having twins and they just outgrown their condo and they need to transition to something better. I've got some people that are retiring and they're looking to relocate out of state where the tax bracket is a little lower and it's better for them. So I think for me, it's just about looking at every client and sitting down with them and really looking at their needs and how can my experience and knowledge and your experience and knowledge be an asset to them to help them to make good decisions, because life is happening regardless of what's going on. And the idea for us in the service industry of finance and mortgage and in real estate is to be able to be there to coach them and mentor them. Every great athlete has a coach. Everybody who plays at the highest level has a coach. In some senses, that's what you and I are. We're real estate coaches, we're financing coaches, and our job is to make sure that we know all the best tools and systems and models out there so that they can make the best decisions for where they are in their season of life.
You touched upon helping your clients and how you really try to figure out what works best for each client individually. As far as opportunity, you said that you're looking in Colorado for some investment opportunities. What would you recommend to starting out investors?
I think obviously trying to get as much of a positive cash flow on their money is the best of rate of return. I like to look and say, hey, if you left this money sitting in the bank or in an investment mutual fund and you got 3 to 5% return on your money, can we drop it in real estate and make you more? Because not only will you make a positive cash flow that may give you a 5 or 7% return on your money, but you're paying down your equity and you're building equity by paying down your mortgage, and that tenant is paying down 90%, if not all of it, for you. So I don't know anybody who has any long-term wealth in their portfolio and doesn't have real estate in that portfolio somewhere down the line. So absolutely, if you're just starting out, real estate's got to be in there, whether it's a duplex, a triplex, transitioning from the duplex to a fourplex, or get into a commercial strip mall or something like that in an out-of-state area, Arizona, Texas, Houston, Colorado, places where buildings thriving in industrial areas are really strong. It might be the way to go. It all depends on also where they are in their lifestyle as well. If they're young with kids and they've got a lot of things going on, then it might be staying a little bit more local until their kids are bigger and then moving on. But real estate's the key. Positive cash flow is the key. Building equity, that's the key to the financial freedom that I think we're all looking for.
Amen to all of that. It sounds like, you help your buyers, your agents that you mentor really understand what their money is representing. And if they're looking to potentially, do a 1031 exchange from a rental property or purchase their first rental property, then you really sit down with them and you go over what's the return going to be. Do they have boots on the ground? Are they going to be able to manage that rental property, and making sure that they will be successful with their plan?
Yeah, there's even a reverse 1031 exchange out now. So, knowing all those tools and, like you said, having some boots on the ground to be able to facilitate things like that, important.
As far as, the aspiring investors or aspiring realtors, what are the most common traps that they end up falling in?
From the realtor standpoint, I would say they see their clients as a dollar sign on the forehead. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. $15,000. Nice to meet
Right.
you. Instead of coming from a place of, and they all eventually get there when they realize, when they see their client like that, clients can smell it, they can feel it, and they just don't want to work with you. But when you care about what's important for them, of building roots, of building wealth, of raising a family in a certain place, building equity, helping them to save money to get their kids to college in the future, I think when an agent transitions from there to this other side of the mentality is where their businesses really take off. When they buy into having a business plan, and having a goal and hitting certain numbers of lead generation. I tell new agents, homes are just our product. What we sell is our service and our knowledge, but what we do every day is we lead generate. We're in the lead generation business. I think for the investor coming in, I think that, they want to hit a home run off their first property, and they're passing up a lot of good opportunities trying to find that home run at bat. And sometimes just getting on first base is good. And like I said a little earlier, little by little, and then all of a sudden, you don't get skinny in a day, you don't get fat in a day. It's little by little, and then all of a sudden. And financial wealth in real estate, I think, has the same model.
What does success look like to you?
Success to me is the ability to get up and do what I want to do. It's a get to and not a have to. I have a passion for real estate. I love every morning getting up and doing what I do. I'm up at 4:20 every morning, and I'm just, every day that I'm here, I love real estate. I love what I do. I love helping clients. When they call you for every particular need, whether it's an appraisal or look over a document or something, that's the most rewarding feeling for me. And every day is still a get to and not a have to. So success to me is that ability to get up and get to go to work and not have to go to work. And yeah, I mean, there's days that I'm in at 11 and out by 1. But in the early days, Ben, you remember, we definitely put our work in. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
when other agents see me now, it's like they're seeing that other side of the real estate game. My son says, "Man, I wish I would have saw lead generator Tom and listing appointment Tom. I see mentor Tom and I see coach Tom, but will lead generator Tom ever come out?" And I said, "Yeah, this old man ain't done hitting home runs yet, son. Don't worry, I got you. We're gonna go." And we do, and he sees it, and he loves it, and it's like, they tell him, "Your dad's Tom Hernandez," and he's like, "That old guy," and it's like, "Hey, sorry, son, surprise."
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's it.
So do you tell your team, your agents, your clients, is there ever a bad time to invest in real estate?
No, there's never a bad time to buy and own real estate in any market. The question you need to ask yourself is, can you afford it? If you can afford to make the monthly payment and carry that property, and you have the down payment. And the second thing is, can you afford to carry that property if it was vacant or you were in between jobs? And if the answer is yes to both of those questions, then absolutely jump into real estate. The sooner you jump in, the sooner you start building equity and start paying it down and building wealth. But the longer you stay on the sidelines, you're only sitting that much farther away from getting in and building that wealth.
Yeah,
And, the mistake novice investors make is they don't get in. They're sitting there staring at the swimming pool, but they never get in, and then they
right,
wonder why they don't swim. Which, like,
right.
well, because you don't jump in. And the sooner you jump in, you start swimming. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you're swimming and you got to get out and take a breath, and then you jump back in. But the point is to get in and swim.
I purchased my first house at the age of 21 by luck, renting a room from a landlord that offered me, to purchase his property with a tenant in there.
I
And
remember, Ben. I remember.
yes, and once I got my license, I was very focused on purchasing properties. Just like you said, you just got to jump in there and do it. And I think that's really the key to me expediting, achieving my goals. And I think you're absolutely right with the fact that there isn't a bad time to invest in real estate. And I think that at the end of the day, it's really key to be able to follow your end goal. So continuously, remind yourself, remind your close ones what it is that you're looking to achieve, and set a date. Don't be afraid. And if you're not even able to achieve that date, it's okay, as long as you achieve it eventually.
Yeah, there was a Simon Sinek said something that was really great that I hold on to, and he talks about people that are in corporate jobs and they get incentivized by if they hit a certain number in the year they get a bonus, and the guy didn't hit it in 12 months, so he didn't get his bonus, but he hit it in 13 months, and it's like sometimes success isn't on a 12-month cycle,
Yes.
sometimes it might be a 13-month or an 18-month cycle, but the fact that you keep pushing and you get up every day and you move, eventually it's going to come. You just got to be strong and continue to work hard at it.
Yeah. I think that at the end of the day, it's really important to be able to manage what we have, create systems, and again, follow the plan.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out, and this is kind of the last, topic I want to go over. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
How important do you feel money management is to achieving your goals?
My first instinct with that question would be, just put it in the bank.
Right.
But as we get older and, you put some stuff in certain areas and then you wake up the next morning, you go, wow, look at that. That just went up, or an investment or a mutual fund or, Bitcoin or something like that. Watching your money is probably the most important thing you can do. Money management, staying on a budget, knowing when you're over budget, and maybe you did it on purpose and that's okay. But yeah, money management is probably the most important thing that we can do, because no one's going to do it for you.
Hopefully, some of our listeners, our viewers, will take some of what you said and
Great.
actually implement it. And any of our listeners can contact you where, Tom?
I am at Keller Williams in Studio City. The email address is ctomsell, the letter C, TOMSELL @gmail.com.
Subscribe now.